Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the OJ podcast. I'm Jamie, and Olivia is missing again. We are still dealing with some problems with our videos and our sounds and stuff. So, we recorded the episode for the Australian Grand Prix, but sadly, the sound got corrupted and it was like in 2 times speed and all this, and we just could not come back from it. So I am recording it by myself just so we can get an episode out there and say we have it. I do kind of wish Olivia was here because I'm obviously going to have biased opinions and she has differing biased opinions, and it was kind of nice for us to go back and forth from each other. Mainly it was yelling at each other. Also, yes, I am wearing a Ferrari shirt. I am not a Ferrari fan. It's usually my shirt I use to go to bed, and it's very late at night with me recording this. So, I am wearing it because I do not care. The Australian Grand Prix weekend, we'll start off with the practices and move on into quali and the race. There's a lot of different things to talk about, whether it's the regulation changes or even the Aston Martin car, all of that. So I'm just going to get right into free practice 3, or 1. Oh my god. Once I find the text messages I sent to Olivia. Okay. So in free practice 1, we kind of start out. Everyone's going out on the grid. Everything's doing fine. The Aston Martins, specifically Fernando, stays in his garage the entire time. He does not go out during free practice 1. Lance gets about like 5 or so laps in, and then he's done for the rest of practice. But as we're coming out, Arvid has some mechanical issues in the car and like stops at the end of the pit lane. So we get a virtual safety car like 30 seconds into free practice so they can recover the car and bring it back into the pit. So his practice, I think he continued or he was done. I don't remember. We were also having problems with the McLarens. Lando had a gearbox problem, and then also Oscar was having similar mechanical problems where his car like wasn't running. He was like stuck in idle, and he would get it going and then it would stop and then he would get it going, and eventually he did get it going and it went fine after that. Otherwise, there was just kind of car issue after car issue. There was a lot of going back into the pits, but the Ferraris and the Mercedes seemed super fast. We also lost both of the Cadillac mirrors. Both Bottas and Checo lost a mirror during that time. Alex had to stop his car due to mechanical issues, and he got out. So that was kind of free practice 1, which I would describe as just mechanical issues and reliability issues and all of that, which is something to talk about because the cars are new and there's a lot of issues with them. A lot of the drivers aren't the happiest. Some are fine, some aren't. And I don't know how I feel about the new regs. I like the idea of the more overtaking, more wheel-to-wheel action, but there's a little bit of a cost to it, and I feel like the cost is greater than the benefit with the cars. And like a lot of drivers said after the weekend, like something bad is going to happen. Whether it's because the field is so widespread at this point in time, you had the Cadillacs and the Aston Martins being so slow compared to like the Ferraris and Mercedes. There's a lot of issues with that and the safety of that, but there's also the safety of the engines completely just not working, the whole battery power situation, all of that. In free practice 2, we got a moment of Arvid driving over George's wing, so already we're just going really into it. Stroll got a couple laps in, even Fernando got a couple laps in. Lando was back his car wasn't the greatest, but he was back. Max actually had to stop at the end of the pit lane, having a similar problem to Arvid of getting the car stuck, and they had to wheel his car back also, but he was out later on. Um, Checo was having some sensor problems in his car, so like he eventually went out and then immediately had to stop. We also got Carlos having similar car problems to Alex. Um, oh no, that's never mind. Ignore that. I never said that. Shh. the the car problems that Carlos was having was actually the next day during free practice 3. He did have a similar problem to Alex, and so his car was actually out for even quali, so they were not able to fix that in time. During free practice 3, though, Kimi crashed the car, and so his team had to quickly get that back together for quali. It was a similar crash to a lot of problems that has been going on with the brakes and going down straights of using all of their battery power and then needing to brake to recharge the battery, causing a lot of lockups and all of this in every corner, but mainly at the end of straights. And so Kimi wasn't the only one having this problem. There was other drivers, usually they were going off into the gravel and everything like that. So it's another one of those like reliability issues, those issues with the batteries and how the drivers have to keep the charge but also know when to use the charge, when to recharge it, and all of this. There's a lot of strategy going into it, a lot of thought that the drivers have to use going into it, and a lot of the drivers aren't saying the batteries are the greatest. They don't have enough charge for what they need to use them for. And we see this kind of situation again when Max crashes during Q1 of quali. There was 5 minutes left. Max crashes, which allows Kimi's team to get his car back together and back out on the track. Carlos was unable to run. Lance was unable to run. So the order for Q1 from 22nd to... I did the math yesterday. It was 22nd to 17th. Yep. Is Colapinto. Nope, that's not the right one. Stroll, Sainz, Verstappen, Bottas, Perez, Alonso. Kind of who you expected. The Cadillacs, the Aston Martins. We also... Williams is having their struggles. Max was an unexpected outlier, but things like that happen. Q2, not much happens, so we get from 16th to 11th is Colapinto, Albon, Gasly, Ocon, Behrman, Hulkenberg, which means most of who is to be expected, the top 4 front runners, are all in quali except for Max, which allows Audi to have Gabby, and then we also have the Racing Bulls as like the quick team, 5th team for the weekend, with both of them getting into Q3. And which at the end of Q2, while we're on the break before going into Q3, Gabby gets stuck in the entrance to the pit lane and is unable to get his car going again. So he is unable to actually run in Q3, making him automatically 10th place. Kimi had an unsafe release due to mechanics leaving the like vacuum air things in his side pods. I don't know the technical term for it. Which one flew off and flew into the grass, which was fine, but another one flew off onto the track and onto the racing line, which Lando had run over, like completely over with his tire. He destroyed a little bit of his front ring. It was like cracked and bent a little bit. which could be a problem because Lando then proceeded to say that the McLarens do not have a spare wing. So I don't know if he did continue to run with that, like, broken wing. They could have fixed it overnight or, like, made it at least somewhat better. But in the end, from 10th to 1st is Gabby, Arvid, Liam, Lewis, Lando, Oscar, Charles, Isaac, Kimmy, George. Which allows us to get onto the race, which I also need to scroll up. So fun things about the race. I am an Isaac and Oscar fan, which tells a lot of how I was feeling over this weekend. But I knew the race started at 10 p.m. my time, and so the Saturday. Just so if anyone wants to figure out what time zone I'm in Central. But I knew that's when it started. I had my roommate watching and 2 other friends watching where they are from, and so I started watching the pre-show, but I had to go show my face at a party with my team, a team party, because I am an athlete, and so I had to go show my face there, and I was like, I'll go for 30 minutes, but I'm leaving as soon as that 30 minutes is done. So like I was back up by like 9:45. But like I started watching the pre-show, and I watched the cars start to go out on the track for the reconnaissance lap, and I was like, okay, here we go. And so I come back, and I see that Zach is talking and stuff in like an interview, but I was like getting undressed. I was kind of setting things up to watch the race. And then I get a text message from Olivia. And Olivia goes, Oscar's out of the race. And I go, what? What do you mean? What do you mean Oscar's out of the race? What do you mean? Like, how is he out of the race? And I go onto Instagram and I see that he crashed during the reconnaissance lap, and I was just devastated for him. Like, it's his first race with a grandstand. It's his home Grand Prix. Like, I was really hoping he was going to break the Australian Grand Prix curse and, like, all of this. And I was just like, oh my God. I feel so sorry for Oscar. And so I usually watch Oscar and Isaac's onboards during the race. So this made me have to jump down to my third driver. So I was watching Isaac and Max. And we get to the start of the race. I find out later on Hulkenberg is also out of the race. I don't know why, and I still don't know why. Because I wasn't there to watch why he was, and I haven't seen anything on social media or anything that tells me why he was. So yeah. And we get to the race, and the starting procedure was really weird. So, like, the blue lights and everything makes sense. It's for the teams to get up to the correct RPM to, like, get their car going and stuff. But whoever was doing the starting procedure this weekend was just a quick, like, immediate, like, fifth light goes on and immediately goes off. And I was just like, whoa. Which caused a lot of problems for a lot of drivers, which makes sense. I equate that to, like, if anybody else there is either a track player or a swimmer, like, the take your marks, go! And it's just like, what do you mean? And, like, for swimming, and I guess track too, I don't always have my hands down on the block and ready before they say take your mark. I do it when they say take your mark. So when they go take your mark, go, and don't give you, like, time, it's just like you panic. And so I have a feeling a lot of the drivers had a similar issue. The Ferraris did not, though. The Ferraris immediately showed off their power in the starts that we all knew they had, and Charles went from 4th to 1st, and Lewis almost went from what would be like 7th to 1st. Like, Lewis almost had it on that first corner, but in the end he had to back out. Some cars that struggled were Isaac fell really far behind, Kimmy fell really far behind. So they struggled with the start. Max even said, and I think even George too, that like their batteries were completely drained. Like they lost all of their batteries and didn't have anything left to get like going due to the out lap, the formation lap. Which is an issue because if you don't have a battery and you can't get started, you have a situation where it was like Liam and Colapinto, where Colapinto had to drastically get out of the way so he didn't run into Liam at the start of the race, and which is dangerous in itself. So here comes in another problem about these new regulations, which I hopefully as the season moves on and like things get figured out, this will get better. But yeah, Charles and George then hash it out for the first 8 or 10 laps of the race. They are back and forth. They just are constantly going over each other because, as Charles said, he equates it kind like the new regulations kind of like the mushroom in Mario Kart, where using boost mode uses up all of your energy, like all of your battery to get around the person in front of you, which causes the person behind, like you get around them and then the person behind you now has all this battery and you don't have any, so they're able to get around again too. You see this a lot. You kind of saw it with Pierre and Esteban, which kind of also Arvid in that, or not Arvid, Gabby in that mix too. You saw it further back with Checo and Liam. Also, a little bit of Lando and Max had that same issue of just constantly going back and forth, back and forth. And then we get Isaac's car completely blowing up on him, and him having to stop and getting the first virtual safety car of the race. Now Isaac is out, and now I get to watch Lando's on board, because now I'm down my top 2 favorite drivers for onboards. Arvid was a really impressive driver this weekend. For a first race, he really showed off his skill, like, very, very well. And so we then, once we get, I now remember what happens. So the Mercedes pit during this virtual safety car. The Ferraris do not. Other cars also pit. Fernando is completely pits and stops completely. Like, he's not out of the race. He'll come back later on, but he's practically out of the race. But we get Lewis getting pretty upset with his team for not pitting, and it does in the end kind of screw them over. Because yes, they could have, were going for the strategy of like, oh, if there's another virtual safety car, that's going to be better if we pit. But like, there is no guarantee that there's going to be another virtual safety car. So like Lewis was saying, one of them should have pitted just to hold off Kimi and George, because Kimi and George double stacked. And so you get that. You also get Lando. He pits. And to show that, like, Lewis being like, oh, wait, what are we doing here? He gets told that George is 10 seconds back, and Lewis is just like, how were they only 10 seconds back? Like, they should be further back. They just pitted, and we didn't. But there's that issue of, like, they didn't pit. We get a little bit of Checo versus Liam, which Checo in the end loses out on and falls really far back in the race. I don't know. He got some damage because clearly later on, there is a virtual safety car due to a piece of his car just going on the track. So there was some damage situation there. Also, we get an amazing defense from Arvid on Max. Like, Arvid was able to hold Max back for a little bit and was being really impressive. We also do get Valtteri out of the race. He stops right at the end of the entrance to the pit lane. So Ferrari's already gone past and is unable to pit at this virtual safety car. Some cars are able to pit, but in the end, the pit lane entrance is closed off. So Ferrari is unable to pit, screwing them over in the end and losing all of their strategy and all of their gain on Mercedes. And so we get Alonso coming back out. We get Lance also coming in and coming out, coming in, like, back and forth a lot. Max starts catching Lando, so then we start to focus less on the Mercedes and Ferraris out front because they're way out front. Nothing's really happening. They're, like, spread out but out front enough that nothing's really happening. But we do have a good Lando versus Max fight of their back and forth. Both of them pit a second time in the race, which there's some strategy to that, too. Lando was on mediums in the end, and Max was on hards. So there's that. Honestly, the end of the race kind of gets a little boring. George is able to lap all the way up to 7th place, which I don't know how I feel about the cars being that far ahead of the rest of the field. I liked it where 2024 or 2025, where the field was closer together. There wasn't as much lapping. There was the usual, like, back markers lapping, but getting all the way up to 7th with no rain or no weird side effects of the weather is a little much, in my opinion. But I want to give the regulations the benefit of the doubt, and that these things are going to change, that teams are going to understand it better the more races we do. So in the end, it is George, Kimi, Charles, to be expected in the race. We get a George T-pose on the podium, and a Kimi, he has a signature little sign now too, which is really funny. And moving on, that was the race. I did enjoy it. I did enjoy the amount of overtaking it and all of that. Obviously, my favorite drivers weren't really in the race, so I also and I'm not a George fan. I'm specifically not a Mercedes fan. They were great for 7 years, and I don't want that again. And I just feel that happening again. And when every single one of my friends are all in some form a Mercedes driver or a Mercedes fan, I feel a little surrounded right now. So in my opinion, this needs to stop. I don't care if I'm honestly rooting for Ferrari now at this point, and that's saying something from a Red Bull McLaren fan. Like, I just don't want Mercedes to be winning this. Like, I'd rather have Charles over George. I think, like, Charles, you know, he has the experience a little. He's been there for a little bit longer, not too much longer than George, but still. Also, it's in spite of Olivia, because Olivia's favorite driver is George, and I just want him to lose all the time. Sorry, Olivia. But yeah, let's move on to one final segment that we tend to do in this, which is our fantasy and predictions leagues, because it's fun to talk about that, and that's what we're going to talk about. So this year, we do have my roommate Ella joining both the leagues. Last year it was just me, Olivia, and Kai. But now we have an added person. So for fantasy, oh my god, how do I find things? Y'all, I sometimes, what? Home statistics prize, where's leagues? Okay, is anyone else also having so many problems with the F1 app and F1 website? Like, this is not the first time I've had such a problem. I might call Ella in here to help me. Ella! Come here! Okay, I'm calling her in because it's not working for me. Can you see our leagues for predictions and fantasy? Probably. Because it's not working on the app. Yeah. So both the phone app, because predictions hasn't been working on the phone app, but fantasy, like the leagues, I can't even find like what to click on my MacBook. Oh, maybe it's because I'm not signed in. Wait, I didn't notice that.
I can make my predictions for.
Yeah. Predictions open up. I don't know. I think this is the right account. I don't remember what account I used.
It says Queen Tundra.
I don't know what that is. Can I just look at your phone? That's prediction. Oh, were you able to get predictions up? Wait, how do you go to fantasy though?
You click fantasy at the bottom.
Oh, okay. Well, we're talking about predictions first. So, for our predictions league, I won this week. I was in the top 1% in the world, actually, of winners. And so I got 40% of it correct with 106 points. Kai also got 40% correct, but with 74 points. I had a 2 times bonus on one of the things that I predicted correct, so that might have given me a little edge, also depending on what Kai got. Olivia's name is so weird. Olivia got 20% correct with 47 points, and Ella also got 20% correct with 30 points. My biggest thing was I got all 3 of the qualifying predictions correct. Everyone else only got 1 of them, so I knew I got George with pole. I got Pierre in front of Carlos because I knew Carlos's car was messed up and he wasn't going to be able to do much in qualifying due to free practice 3. And then I also got 6 teams were in Q3. Was I expecting it to be max? No, but I knew 6 teams. And then I also got most of the podium correct with I got George and Kimmy in first and second. I did have Oscar in third, so I did get that one wrong. And then I also got that the Audi car would be in front of the Alpine, and that's where I had my 2 times bonus on. For fantasy, it's not changing. The F1 app is so messed up, guys. I don't know if you guys have been having this problem. Like, even on my MacBook, it's messed up. Like, so many problems. Don't you agree? Yeah. You can say words. You're in the room. It's not like this is live or anything. Yeah, I just don't... Okay, thank you.
The only way I can get to the predicts is if it, like, when you pop, like, hit fantasy when the app first opens, it'll be predict at the top, and you really gotta, like,
so quick. Oh, so many problems. Okay. For fantasy, I was actually in third this week. I started off with quali being so well, and I was in first. Okay, Ella. I was in first for quali and started off so well, but I got really unlucky with the Oscar crash and then also Hulkenberg not starting the race. I had 2 people not even start on my team. But Olivia won with 208, and she had 2 times on George. She also had Checo, Alex, Gabby, Carlos, and her cars were Audi and Mercedes. I know she's changed this team since then, so we'll see what happens next week. Ella was in second with Max having 2 times bonus on, which was to hers and Kai's benefit. They both had Max and they both got 100 points just from him. She also had Kimmy, Ollie, Liam, and Isaac, which she got negative points for Isaac's, with Williams and Racing Bulls being her teams. And then
I got negative from Williams, I think.
No, you didn't. Williams got points. You're fine.
I thought I had -9 points.
I think that was during quali, but right now it says 20 points.
Oh.
So that's why I don't think you should change your team. You have a goated team. You got to keep it. Kai, on the other hand, needs to change their team. Kai has 2 times Max, Arvid, Isaac, Nico, Fernando, which Isaac, Nico, Fernando got them -8, -20, and -14 points. They also have Cadillac and Red Bull as their car teams, which Cadillac got them -13 points. So
I think the problem there is Alonso.
I think Alonso and Cadillac are the problems. I think everything else is fine, but Alonso and Cadillac probably need to go. And then my team in third place with 169 points. I had 2 times on Kimmy because I'm smart not to put it on Oscar. 20. I then had Ollie, Nico, Oscar, which Nico and Oscar got me negative points. Arvid, Ferrari, and Racing Bulls. I like my team. I'm not going to change it, but I just was really unlucky this weekend. There you go.
Like little Ferraris.
Okay.
Go to the F1.
What? What do you mean? I just need to sign in. That's the problem. I don't know which one's my actual account. You might have been in the video.
I'm not. Look, I'm still not.
Yeah, you were leaned over a little bit. See?
Unless it moves with you, it won't move me.
Anyways, that is pretty much the end of the episode, guys. That's kind of all that me and Olivia do. I hope you guys liked it. Please go follow us on all of our other social medias. We post these Grand Prix podcasts on Spotify and YouTube. YouTube, we have also other series, so we have some shorter video editing content. We also have F1 for Dummies, which is kind of our like how-to F1, like learning about F1 for people who are just getting into the sport. And then we also have reactions to sports TV shows. Right now it's just Heated Rivalry, but we will be doing more. We also have our short form video content on TikTok and Instagram. Not so much Instagram, but definitely on TikTok. Go watch our TikToks. They're funny. I'm funny. I do most of them. And then we also have Twitter, Blue Sky, and Threads, which Olivia will sometimes post on there, mostly about Survivor. Sometimes she'll add an F1 thing. But I'll see you guys next week in China, and hopefully Olivia will be with me. Bye!